Thing she wants from me. My wife knows it. She says, man, that's your boss right there. She got me. And then our son Maverick, he's about two months old now. He's such a blessing. But I'm gonna start off sharing a quick story how this came about. One morning I was getting ready for work. It was around 7:30 in the morning. For some reason, I was downstairs getting ready. Normally I get ready upstairs, but I guess I had some shirts that I had just gotten from the cleaners that previous day. So I was putting on my shirt, putting the shirt and tie, the suit on. While I was getting ready, I heard my daughter's voice. She said, "Daddy, where are you?" And she always asks where her daddy is every morning. If I'm not, because she always comes in our room. No matter if we put her in her room, she's gonna come in our room pretty much. So if I'm not in that bed when she wakes up, she's gonna ask, "Where's her daddy?" She said that she came to the top of the steps. She said, it was dark. It was still dark in the house. She said, "Daddy, where are you?" I said, "Baby, I'm downstairs." Normally, Els, she doesn't like to come down the dark steps by herself. But this morning in particular, she ventured down the steps. And as she came down the steps, I greeted her with one of the biggest hugs, held her. "I love you." And she hugged me tight. After that was over, Elle whispered in my ear, "Daddy, I want a snack." I said, "Okay." I was like, "Come on, let's go get a snack, baby. Let's go." So we go to the kitchen, and we got all the snacks in the cabinet, and I lift her up and standing on the counter, and I say, "Elle, what do you want? What do you want?" Things she might, maybe granola bar, maybe a Pop-Tart or, something like that. But to my surprise, she points in the back. "I want that." Right. I look, this, no, this, no, I want that. And I was like, oh my goodness. She was pointing to candy corn. The candy corn that you get, they give out at Halloween. That's what she wanted. 7:30 in the morning, hasn't had any type of breakfast. Talking about a candy that's basically just all sugar. And that's what she's requesting from her daddy, that candy corn. Oh, man. So please don't, this might not be the best fatherly thing to do. So what did I do? I said, "Sure, baby, come on, get some candy corn. Your mama's not down here. We look, she's not down here. You can get whatever you want." So she reaches in the bag and gets a handful. I said, "Oh, whoa." And I said, only a couple. But she wasn't letting go, and she's eating the candy corn. So at that time, God, He put something in my heart. This is I don't know. This has been a while, maybe not quite a year, but what He put on my heart that day that I'm sharing with you all now is it's your 7:30. It's your 7:30. What that means, we all believers as Christians, we're not exempt from tough times. Nowhere in the words that say you're not going to go through trials, you're not going to go through tribulations. And I guess as family too, we can all, we've been through some tough times. Family, we lost some ones along the way, crying, some pain. But that's your 7:30. So your 7:30 could be, a loss of a job. Your marriage might be on the rocks. Or you might be going through some depression. You might be going through a failed relationship. You might have some doubt. You might have whatever that may be, whatever that tough tribulation that you're currently going through right now, that's your 7:30. But what I'm going to share is some hope that I believe that in your 7:30, in one of your darkest moments of your life, I believe that's the time that we can have one of the best encounters with God in our 7:30 period. Because what God is showing us is that during our 7:30, all hope is not lost. All hope is not gone. But He has candy corn for us. So that candy corn in your 7:30 is that thing that you're not supposed to get right now. You just lost your mom. Why are you smiling? You just lost your job. Why are you still able to pay your bills? So what I'm going to share, quick 4 points of what, your 7:30 means. And I'm going to come out of Acts chapter 9. You can turn to that right quick. I'm not long. Real quick. And it's going to be, we're going to start at verse 36. So if you get there, say amen. Let me find it. All right. And in my Bible translation, I got the good news, so it's kind of going to be in kind of the language that we kind of taught today, so it's a little bit different. Just bear with me. So Acts chapter 9. So right here, I'm going to kind of just paint the picture for you where we're currently at. Peter right now, Jesus has died, but, some amazing things are happening right now. Peter is just, man, he's like a superstar right now. He's going around just, man, God is working through him. He's healing people. And when we read this right here, he had just healed Aeneas, who was paralyzed. And, he's paralyzed for like 8 years. Peter prays on him. God just heals him. The dude just gets on up. So it's some amazing things going on. So we're going to start at verse 30. I'm going to start at verse 36. I'm just going to read the verse 41 and point out a couple things. I got just 4 quick points. In Joppa, there was a disciple named Tabitha, which is translated Dorcas. She was always doing good works and acts of charity. In those days, she became sick and died. After washing her, they placed her in a room upstairs. Since Lydia was near Joppa, the disciples heard that Peter was there and sent 2 men to him who begged him, "Don't delay in coming with us." So Peter and went with them. When he arrived, they led him to the room upstairs. All the widows approached him, weeping and showing him the robes and clothes that Dorcas had made while she was still with them. Then Peter sent them all out of the room. He knelt down, prayed, and turning toward the body, said, "Tabitha, get up." She opened her eyes, saw Peter, and sat up. He gave her his hand and helped her stand up. Then he called the saints and widows and presented her alive. So what I'm going to make is that when you're in your 7:30 period, whatever that may be, that dark time in your life, I want you to, if you're taking notes, the first point is he is near. I think a lot of, believers, Christians, we sometimes fail to forget that, we're going to go through tough times, but those tough times doesn't mean that God has left us. He is near. In verse 38, it says Lydia was near Joppa. Research, it's about 10 miles from each other. So from here, maybe tops Princeville. So a good walk, but they are a good camel ride, but they could do it in a day. And like I said, Peter, man, the word is getting out. The traveling. The word is spreading fast. And the miracles that he's doing through the power of Jesus is spreading fast. And it's kind of like if Aunt Faye had made next year Oprah. President Obama, and to all my, to the hip hop heads, maybe if Jay-Z came to Tarboro and did a free concert, it'd be just crazy. Like so fast, yeah. Here, Peter. For real? You need to go check him out. That's going in this. So, when we're going through our dark hour, Jesus has not left us. He is right there with us. Psalms 34:18 says, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Hebrews 13:5 says he will never leave us or forsake us. So that's the first point I want to make, is that he is near. So always remember that. No matter what you're going through, you're in school, my cousin's right there, tough test, you might not have made as great as you wanted to. He hasn't left. He's still right there he's still right there for us. All right, so they know, okay, so you know Peter is close by, right? He's right there. Guess what? He's not just going to come. He don't know what happened. He don't know that Tabitha has died. So my next point is, we must send for him. This brings us to faith. I think faith is a thing that is very hard on a logical level to kind of grasp because it really doesn't make sense on a logical level. It's not supposed to make sense. Faith is not supposed to make sense to the human mind because if you think it's just out, it's a spiritual thing. That's what faith is. Hebrews 11:1 is, this is what it is. Now, faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance about what we do not see. So they said, Lydia was near Joppa. That's in verse 38. And Peter was there. So they sent 2 men to him who begged him, don't delay in coming with us. But another thing I want to move back up to verse 37 is that these believers, I think they had faith from the very beginning when Tabitha, when she passed away, because it says after washing her, they placed her in a room upstairs. You see, I did a little bit of research, and back in these times, it's not like what happens now. When someone died, they washed the body, and they put the body in the upper room for the burial. They normally had it set out maybe a day, maybe 2 days, probably at the max. But one thing that was missing here is that I found out is a third step that they used to do when people died. That they would put fragrances on the body to help preserve, the smell, perfume the body. And if you look here, they didn't do it after washing her. So even in this 7:30 period when this woman of God had passed away, all of a sudden, she was probably a staple in the community. She was helping people. So this came as a shock to them. So this was bless you. So this was the trying time for them. But at this trying time, they still had the faith to believe in God that all hope was not lost. They could have just said, oh, well, it's going to go ahead and, this story is crazy. I'm trying to grasp it myself like, oh, well, we're just going to go and just, she's dead. Let's go ahead and bury her and let's get on with it. But these saints, they had faith. And this is something that we lack, that I lack today I think our faith today is kind of is diluted because we have so much at our grasp. We got the internet. We can get it there. Oh, I got a headache. Oh, let me go pop a Tylenol right quick. Don't even get on our knees and pray for healing. We just go ahead and pop that medicine real quick. So I think this is something we can learn from here. Hebrews 1, now faith is confidence in what we hope for and assurance for what we don't see. We go down a little bit farther in Hebrews, verse 6. It says, without faith, it is impossible to please God, because anyone who comes to him must believe that he exists, and he rewards those who earnestly seek him. And I underline earnestly, because I was like, okay, so it's impossible. You got to have faith. That's the first thing. Even to please God, we got to have some type of faith. But the second part of it, he says, he rewards those who earnestly seek him. And I was like, wow. So I looked in the thesaurus, and getting some adjectives, some synonyms for earnestly, and one that kind of popped up to me is earnestly with all one's might. So I'm saying, you're not just saying, I believe in God, but you're truly seeking God, like the believers. They didn't just go ask Peter, hey, Peter, come on, man. We need you to come to Joppa with us. It says they begged him, like, yo, Peter, can you please come? They're probably like almost in tears, because they lost a dear friend, like, Peter, please. It's not that they knew what Peter could do, but they knew who Peter was rolling with, and that's the all-powerful God, Jesus Christ. So they said, yo, we need you to come with us. Please come. So they begged him. Peter's like, okay, because Peter had heard about Tabitha, okay, yeah, I'll come. So we must seek him. Even though we know he's close, we must have the faith to even take that first step. And I think that stops a lot of us. That stops me. I even like just thinking logical, that's not going to work. Why would I even do that? Quick story to put it in perspective. Aunt Faye, if you know her, she loves her dogs. And one in particular is Taco. Oh, that dog is crazy. But one time, a couple years ago, I don't know how he got hurt, but his back legs they just stopped working. I don't know what he did. So I hate to laugh, but I did laugh when I first saw him with them wheels, man. He had wheels on the back of his leg, and he was just walking in them, in them wheels, man. It's like, and I think that they're pretty much giving up. He's not going to never walk again. But Aunt Faye, she brought Taco home, and, she loved Taco, and she continued to nurture him. And I think, and we go back to Hebrews 1, I think she really demonstrated what the word is talking about, that faith is the Aunt Faye, I think she hoped that Taco would one day walk again. She hoped that he would. And I think she took it another step farther in the assurance of what we don't see. She's hoping. Walking, he still got wheels on the back of his leg. But we got to take it one. In James chapter. And you can look at there at verse 14 to 18. I won't read the whole thing, but it says faith without action is dead. Okay? So you got to have some faith is not a noun, it's a verb. They want to see some action. But I believe what Taco, he might, if Aunt Faye wouldn't have took that faith into action and taken those wheels off, he might not be walking today. And now he's jumping, walking, and doing everything today. But I think we can learn something from that example is that we can hope. You can have dreams. With my wife, you can have visions. Some of you might have dreams, aspirations to do certain things. You have great talents, and you hope for it. They haven't come to fruition yet. But if you don't take that next step, that action, then that faith is dead. So I think sometimes we have to take the wheels off, like what Aunt Faye did. We got to take the wheels off and take that next step. And that's what they did going to get Peter. So Peter, he decides to come, takes us to a next step. So when he gets there, when he gets to the house, let's see what verse we at. He got up and went with them. When he arrived, they led him to the room upstairs, and all the widows approached him, weeping and showing him the robes and clothes that she had made. This is my third point. I got one more after this, then I'm done. In our 7:30, in that tough time, we have to kick the widows out. And widows could be our own inhibitions, or it can be the outside. I know with me, when something negative happens, when something I can't handle, or challenge that I can't overcome, when circumstances begin to turn against me, I tend to have a negative attitude rather than a positive attitude. And you think here, the widows in this society, they were the forgotten. People didn't really, the government didn't mess with them. They were the forgotten. But if you look here, when Peter arose, when Peter got there, they're crying, they're weeping. Tabitha's dead. What are we gonna do? Oh my goodness, Lord help us. There's all this negative energy. Also, and what the widows do and what we tend to do also, we tend to have a horizontal view on our problems, not a vertical view. See, the horizontal is just the physical, what you see. But that vertical view is getting in line to the spiritual, our spiritual eyes, what God will have us to do. And if the widows would have had that vertical view versus the horizontal view, they would have been jumping up and down, shouting, praising, because something's about to happen here. Something amazing is about to happen. Next thing that happens, why we need to kick the widows out, is because we tend to resist what is new. Even though when God is working on us, we know that He's near, we seek them, and we're about to come through our breakthrough. We're about to get all this 7:30, but we reject what's new. Elle could have rejected the candy corn. Look, I'm giving it to you. No, I don't want it anymore. No, I'm giving. God is ready to give this thing to us, ready to bring us out. Don't reject it. As you see, the widows are showing him all this stuff that happened in the past. And that's sometimes what hinders us too. We get stuck on the past, stuck on our past failures, stuck on what people are saying. You're going to always be like your father. You're never going to make it. Oh, I knew you were going to fail anyway. No. You got to kick those widows out. Get that doubt. Get all that bad. You got to get that out because there's no room for that when God is about to make a move. So he kicks those widows out. He kicked them out. He said, y'all got to go. So you got to kick the widows out. And the last thing, before I sit down here, bring this thing to a close, is that after we know he's near, we really seek him earnestly, we have faith, we kick the widows out. And I think lastly, God is saying, get up. Come on, get up. Come to me. And I look back at little Elle. I'm downstairs. She took that faith, walked down those steps, and she jumped in my arms. And that's what God wants to do for us. He's telling us, all right, yeah, I know you're in your 7:30 right now. I know you're going through some tough times. I know things don't look too good right now. But what I need for you to do is get up and take my hand and come with me and let me bring you up out of this thing. And that's what happened. He told Tabitha to get up, and she rose up, took his hand. Then after God brings us out of something, we got to make sure we give the honor and glory to him alone because we know without him nothing is possible. And that's what he did. He said, I want you to show the widows that you're back here alive. The doubters, the haters who thought you wouldn't be there, I'm still standing. And all the saints, so the saints. Because this miracle is another miracle that brought people closer to Jesus, saved people. The word spread. So my last scripture that I'm going to share is I'm just going to read a small thing out of this book here. 2 Corinthians 4, verse 15, I'm sorry. Indeed, everything is for your benefit, that grace extended through more and more people given to increase is destroyed, our inner person is being renewed day by day. A momentary light affliction producing us an absolutely incomparable internal weight of glory. So we do not focus on what is seen, but what is internal. So that whatever you're going through right now, whatever your 7:30 might be, you're sitting there thinking whatever that may be. It might be, a dead-end job. You might be praying for a job. You might be praying that God just comes and just renews your relationship with your spouse or whatever that thing may be. Just know that it's temporary. It's not going to last forever. Joy comes in the morning. But we just got to continue just to keep fighting and just to hang in there. And just to recap on my points, he hasn't left. He's still right there with you. But you're going to have to seek him. You're going to have to get on your knees. You're going to have to pray. You're going to have to fast. You're going to have to really earnestly seek God and see what he's telling you to do. And lastly, you got to get rid of all those widows that's in your life that's only bringing you down. It might be your inner widows, your doubt, your lack of faith. You got to get rid of that. Once we do that, I believe God is really going to show us something. It might not be what we expected, but he definitely has candy corn, that grace, that favor, that forgiveness that only he can give. So that's what God has here. I'm just going to read just something right quick out of this book that I've been reading. Story, great story, amazing. But I'm going to close with this, and then we'll close out. Some of you are on the verge of promotion, and you don't even know. You don't even know it, because God doesn't announce his appointments in advance. What you have to do while you wait is to believe his promises. While in the darkness of your dungeon, by faith, trust him to bring the light of a new dawn. In the winter of your discontent, believe there will be a spring. The late Joe Bailey, in The Last Thing We Talk About, tells of losing 3 sons, Danny, John, and Joe, each lost at a different age and under different circumstances to death. One before he was 5 with leukemia. Remembering those heartaches, Bailey writes of hope finally returning. One Saturday morning in January, I saw the mail truck stop at our mailbox up on the road. Without thinking, except that I wanted to get the mail, I ran out of the house and up on the road in my shirt sleeves. It was bitterly cold. The temperature was below zero. There was a brisk wind from the north, and the ground was covered with more than a foot of snow. I opened the mailbox, pulled out the mail, and was about to make a mad dash for the house when I saw what was on the bottom under the letters. It was a burpee seed catalog. I had to research that too. That's like just a garden catalog, all the fruits and vegetables of the spring. On the front were bright azaleas. I turned it over. On the back were huge tomatoes. For a few moments, I was oblivious to the cold, delivered from it. I leafed through the catalog, tasting corn and cucumbers, smelling roses. I saw the freshly plowed earth, smelled it, and let it run through my fingers. For those brief moments, I was living in the springtime and summer, winter passed. Then the cold penetrated to my bones, and I ran back to the house. When the door was closed behind me, I was getting warm again. I thought how moments at the mailbox were like our experience as Christians. We feel the cold along with those who do not share our hope. The biting wind penetrates us as them. But in our cold times, we have a seed catalog. We open it and smell the promised spring, eternal spring, and the first fruit that settles with our hope in Jesus Christ, who has raised from death and cold earth to glory eternal. So I just want to leave you with that. And then again, as I close, no matter what you're going through, it's not big enough that God can't handle it. So family, I love you all, and thank you so much.